why do you come every day and work so hard? And I thought he was going to say, I need the money. And he said, what? I said, oh, why are you working so hard? What's the reason? He said, oh, probation officer. And I go, oh, okay. It's a true story. And I went to the roofer and I said, why you got, what is this? You got prisoners working on my roof? And he belongs to some kind of program, prisoner release program or something like that. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Okay, so do you want to hear a war story?
Yes.
Do we have time for that?
Sure.
Okay. So on Prospect Street, this guy owns this doctor owns this kind of big lot, and he chopped down 50 trees. He didn't have a permit for chopping the trees down. Do you need a permit for chopping trees down? Never heard of such a thing, right? But guess what? You heard of special districts? Punchbowl Special District does not allow you to chop trees down unless you get a permit if the tree trunk is over 6 inches in diameter or something. So now he decides to regrade his property and build a rock wall. My friend lives on the property right next door. And the bulldozer went into her yard, knocked down her fence, and started digging a trench to install a rock wall. So she calls me, hey, I need help. So I go and look. First of all, the rock wall footing is not deep enough. The rock wall, it's partially built, and they got all kind of bricks and junk inside the wall. And I'm like, where's your property pin? And she goes, well, the survey pin is here. I said, okay, that's nice. He goes, oh, but it used to be here, but the contractor moved it. Oh, okay, so where's the property line now? I said, well, you got to get a new survey. But interesting, there was a plumbing drain cleanup pipe right in the middle of the wall, and I said, what the heck is that there for? Then she tells me, oh, there's a city drainage easement that goes from Dowsett Point Condominium to Madera Street across both lots. And I'm like, isn't that where the wall is? So guess what? The contractor fools around with the pipe, breaks the pipe, buries it under the wall, builds the wall, and the wall, the entire wall is in the city easement. That's about 6 violations there, right? Now, don't tell anybody I said this though. I did research at the building department and at the DCCA RICO. I'm on the advisory board for DCCA RICO, so I get connections, right? So I give the contractor's name, license number. They go, we don't have any company by that name registered. I said, okay, wrong already. Here's the license number. Oh, we do have 2 licenses, landscaping and masonry. Landscaping allows you to do grading if you want to, make a yard or nice landscaping or a vegetable garden. It does not allow you to start digging 2,000 cubic yards of dirt and rocks on the property. That's a separate grading license. He can do rock wall work because he has a C31 masonry license, but his work is crappy. So what do? We checked with the building department, and guess what? He never had a permit when he started the work. They have one now. I said, well, where is it? Well, we have it on hold. So the city's telling me that. So why do you have it on hold? Oh, well, a city inspector went by and looked at what the guy was doing, looked at the amount noted on the building permit, and it was $2,000. Now, how much work and value was the rock retaining wall and the grading? That's like $30,000. That's another trick. You put a low amount on the permit so you pay less permit fee, but if somebody checks, now the owner's pretty much screwed. You know why he's screwed? Because I'm on the job. Now, you guys probably have a ton of questions. I don't know how much time I have, but go for it. I'm here. You got a live person that knows what they're talking about. Anybody? Yes?
Any stories of the after the fact permits?
I got mostly sad endings for after the fact permits. But yeah, I've had some where they did some remodeling, or there was one case in 20 years where they went to apply for after the fact permit and they got it without having to do any work at all, because the contractor that did the work was pretty sharp and he followed all the codes and he did everything really nice, and that was one out of like 500. So, good question. Anything else? Yes.
When you pull up a list of your building the building permits that have been issued on your property, and there's on mine, for example, it says building permit closed, or something like that. In fact, I've got to print out. What does that mean?
That means the building inspector got frustrated and left. Now, what that means is when it says open, you guys all get building permit packages, right? Okay. I actually take the building permit package, go to the property, and verify whether everything was done correctly or not correctly and give a report. That's like a special type of service that we offer. And we don't do too many of them because it's a pain in the butt, but we do it. So, to answer the question, if it says open, that means the building permit was applied for and it's still open. It was never closed out. When it says closed, that means the inspector came and looked at it and said everything's fine and closed it out. I've seen building permit packages where you read it and the house was built in 1972 and there's a permit applied for in 1980 and it says open. What does that mean? That means it's not closed, right? So you need to close it because some lenders, VA or whatever, they look at that and they go, there's an open permit. Sorry, we can't fund your loan. And you ask the seller, go, gee, I don't even remember what that was. So, and then you call the inspector and he's like, oh, we don't know what this is. Let's investigate. We'll call you back in January of 2017, let you know what's going on. Hey, I got a deal in escrow I got to close. So, get your building permit packages up front. Read all the itemized information. How many building permits? If it's all closed, you're okay. If some are open, you gotta try and get it closed. And you know, by the time you call, they may have had like 10, 12 inspectors that were assigned to that certain district and they're long gone and nobody knows what's going on. The guy retired, is on vacation, or you gave him hassles and now he's going, forget it. I'm gonna just leave it open and make the guy suffer. Good luck. Good question. Yes? It's the same thing, completed and closed. Because the building department wants to trick you. And guess what? They're so confusing, and then when you call them, they don't want to talk to you. I've actually called the building department and said, you know what? I own a house and I'm going to change my water heater and toilet. Do I need a permit? And the guy goes, you do, but don't come in and apply. I go, why? He goes, we're short-handed and we can't deal with all these manini kind of applications. Yeah, that's what the guy said. So guess what? The code says one thing, and in reality, they're telling you to do something else, right? But don't tell your client that, right? You got to tell your client, like when I advise my clients, I tell them what the building code says and what the permit requirements are. And then they said, well, how do we get around this? I said, okay, I'm not your consultant now, I'm just advising you on the side. Here's what you can do. Okay, so it's fairly tricky. Any other question? Oh, yes. How long does it take to get a permit? Can I come back next year and let you know? I've applied for permits. I've gotten a permit within 1 month. I've also gotten a permit 6 months. One time I got a permit 2 years later. I had 5 jobs I was doing, renovating condominium and apartment building. We're doing concrete spalling repair, painting and all that. We applied for a permit. We finished the work and then we got the permit issued. That's how slow the building department is. And if you keep calling them, they're gonna put your application from the top and hide it on the bottom. So you know the trick, you gotta go buy Manapua and all that, and once in a while you gotta go take it down. My Manapua credit card bill, my wife goes, man, you must like Manapua. I said, no, it's bribes. Any other questions?
The problems with like cesspools, that they're always, even if you're not need a permit for water change, but if you're
question is cesspools. Guess what? Cesspools are not allowed anymore. So that's a whole different animal.
You can't be grandfathered in.
You can. Are you a grandfather? No, there's no grandfather in a cesspool. There used to be, but the EPA said there's too much leaching going on, and nobody's grandfathered anymore. You guys got to switch it out. I've had clients call me, Haula, and way in the country areas, and they have cesspools. Said, "Oh, I need your help. You got to help me with this. I want to keep my cesspool in." I said, "No, they won't allow you." "Oh, can you get a contractor to, replace it or do something?" Well, contractors are hard to find, and you're going to install a septic tank, and it's going to be like $30,000. And if you're right on the beach, you can't dig a hole there because you dig and it fill up with ocean water. You got to go during low tide and dig. So I don't even want to deal with that.
I know, that's a problem.
Yeah. So try to get listings where they don't have cesspools. Any other questions? Yes.
Use real estate agents to help a little bit better with the building permit system, since it's been such a frustrating thing for people to go through. That's why there's so many unpermitted, additions or whatever.
Okay, good question. Did everybody hear the question? What can we do about the building permits and all that from a realtor standpoint? Here's what you do. Due diligence. You gather all the information the seller has, or if you're representing the buyer, ask for all the information from the beginning when the house was first built, whatever. Order a building permit package. There's a couple companies that do that, right? Review that. Also hire somebody that can take the package, go to the house, measure things, and determine whether things are permitted or not. That's the best you can do.
And who would that be, a contractor? That person to go there?
It could be a contractor, it could be a company. I do that. There's a guy in the back waving his hand. He does that.
Yeah? Okay.
There's several people that do that, and you can't be wrong by doing as much as you can. You can be wrong by not going to the next step. If you get into a lawsuit later and the judge says, Mrs. Realtor, did you bother to get a permit package? No, the seller decided not to pay the money. Okay, and then if there was a permit package, well, do you know how to read the permit package? Oh, no, we just got it and gave it to our client. Oh, okay, and you're the professional, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor? Why didn't you recommend to your client to hire an architect or look around to find somebody that could read the permit package and let the client know what's up? Now the guy bought and he can't get a permit for this family room enclosure, and then he tells me that it's going to cost $35,000 to make it legal. Do you think the buyer's going to be happy with the realtor? I would say, hey, realtor, I don't know anything about real estate or construction. This is your job. You should have at least told me what to do. You didn't. Guess what? E&O, is that an E&O claim? Yeah, it certainly is. I work on litigation cases, and I hate when I see realtors on the lawsuit. And it may not be their fault, but I see realtors get dragged in. I get dragged in. It had nothing to do with the property, except I put a bid on it. I get dragged. I got to call the attorney. Take my name off. It had nothing to do with this. But they shotgun, blast everybody, right? Any other questions? One more, thanks.
Have you seen ADUs being completed?
Yes, ADUs being completed. I see more ADUs not being completed because the city has no clue. You go in there and they go, oh no, what you read in the article is not true. It's this now. Okay, here's something else. You know about the rail? ADU requires parking. Now, if you're within like half a mile or something like that to a rail station, you don't need to provide parking for ADU. What is that? What's up with that? What if I live in Kane'ohe? There's no rail station in Kane'ohe. Discrimination, right? I'm going to write to the mayor about that. All right, I think my time's up. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.